Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm making Philly cheesesteak meatloaf in a Ninja Foodi air fryer. Alright, I'm starting on a large skillet I have preheating, and I'm going to add some olive oil in here. Just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. And I'm going to add in 1 green bell pepper, 1 onion I finely diced up. And I'm going to add in about 5 ounces of mushrooms that I diced. Let me hit this here a little bit. Eric doesn't like mushrooms. He's my oldest son. So I got to try to get them fine so I don't get much static from him about them being in here. Turn my temperature up a little bit. Now I'm going to allow this to saute for a few minutes, probably 5 or 6 minutes once it gets going, so my vegetables start to soften up. Right now that my vegetables are starting to soften up, and they went for probably about 5 minutes, I'm going to add in some garlic. Now I'm using a pre-diced stuff in the jar. If you use fresh, use about 3 cloves. I'm using 3 healthy forkfuls. And I'm going to add in just a little bit of salt. About a half a teaspoon. And I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper. I'm going to allow this to saute for just a minute longer so that garlic starts to infuse the flavors of the vegetables. I really wouldn't want to say get fragrant because it's already fragrant because of the way it's already pre-diced. And when I use mushrooms, if I can help it, I like to use the sliced mushrooms because they come a little cleaner than the whole ones. The whole ones always have dirt on the bottom of them, so you have to wipe them off or rinse them off and then dry them good. Alright, my vegetables are done. I'm going to turn them off and set them aside just for now so they can cool a little bit. Alright, now in a bowl I have 2 pounds of ground beef. And I got a good deal on this, guys. This is $85.15. It was $2.99 a pound at my local grocery store. So you can't beat that, especially now. I'm going to crack an egg in there. And I'm also going to add in, keep my seasoning simple for this, I'm going to add in some Worcestershire sauce. Probably about 3 tablespoons. That'll give it a good beefy flavor. I'm going to add in my favorite seasoning like I use in everything. Himalayan pink salt, black pepper, garlic. Add some red pepper, lemon peel in there. It's good stuff, guys. I'm going to go for about a teaspoon. And I'm going to add some Italian seasoned breadcrumb. You can use plain breadcrumb if you like. I like the Italian seasoned because it gives extra flavor. I'm going to go for probably about 1/4 cup. I'm going to get in here and get this all mixed together. Get all the spices and everything blended in there well. Alright, now that I have my ground beef all mixed up, I have a piece of aluminum foil here. Took a big piece and I fold it in half. Just going to make a sling to get this in and out of the air fryer to make it easier. I'm going to take my ground beef and I'm going to shape it into the shape of a meatloaf. And I'm going to go ahead and make a pocket in the middle. Now you don't want to go all the way down to the bottom of your meatloaf, but you want to get it in there pretty deep. Alright, that's looking good. Now I'm going to take some sliced provolone cheese and I'm going to layer this in here. Because remember, this is a cheesesteak meatloaf, so you've got to have cheese. And I'm going to put about 4 slices in here. Now I'm going to take some of that vegetable mixture that we did in the beginning of the video. Scoop some of that in the middle. And this is still fairly hot, so I'm going to have to be careful not to burn myself. I'm putting about half of it in there. We're going to reserve the other half for on top of the meatloaf when it's done. And I'm just going to go ahead and close my meatloaf up. Trying to push the vegetables down in there as I go. And guys, this doesn't have to be perfect because the top's going to be covered when it's done and we'll make it look pretty. Might take a little beef off the end and just patch that shut. Give it the old patch job. Alright, I'm just going to let this set aside for now while I get the air fryer ready. And then we'll move on to the next step. Alright guys, I'm going to make some seasoned potatoes on the other side of the Ninja dual zone air fryer. I'm going to get my meatloaf in here. It's going to be a tight fit because I didn't realize my meatloaf was so big. We're going to make it work. And don't let your foil rip while you're lifting your meatloaf up. Squeeze that bad boy down in there. Pinch the top closed. Alright, I'm going to get my meatloaf in there, and you see it fit that in the drawer. I'm going to do number 1. I'm going to set my temperature. First I'm going to set it to air fry. Then I'm going to set my temperature at 350. And I'm going to set my time for 1 hour. Now I'll check it before that hour is up to make sure we don't burn it. And I might need to cover the top so that it doesn't get too crispy before it cooks through. And while this is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and work on my potatoes. And I'll let you see me load them into the air fryer. Right, now in my bowl that I mixed ground beef in, I washed it out and I cut up some red skin potatoes. And Dexter's in a talkative mood right now. I'm going to put some olive oil on these. Just enough to coat the potatoes. And I'm going to give them a stir. Eric's upstairs. Eric just got home from work and he walked by Dexter's cage, so now Dexter's calling for him. We just want to coat them good in that oil because that's going to help our seasoning stick and it's going to help them get nice and crispy. That one go overboard. Right now I'm going to take my trusty seasoning that I use in everything. And guys, like I said, if you haven't tried, just give it a try. This seasoning is really delicious. I'm going to sprinkle some of that in on the potatoes and then stir it around. And this here is going to give these a good garlic, oniony flavor, a little bit of lemon flavor to it because there's lemon peel in it. Some green or red bell pepper and give your salt and pepper in there. A little more seasoning. What, Dexter? I'm trying to record a video out here. He's happy because there isn't chicken on the menu tonight. What? Yeah. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and get this into my air fryer basket. Put some stuff out of the way. Now my potatoes are going to take roughly about 40 minutes. And I'm going to have to go in and I'm going to have to stir them around because you can see that's a lot of potatoes in there. So I'm going to go ahead and load them into the air fryer. Alright guys, I have 2 minutes left of my cook time. About 15 minutes in, I had to tent that with foil because you see how dark it started to get. And this is swimming in juice, so when I lift it out here, I'm going to have to be careful. The juice will run down into the air fryer pan. I'm going to put some more cheese on top of the meatloaf. And it won't take long in the air fryer, that's why we're doing it at the last 2 minutes. And I'm going to take more of our pepper, onion, and mushroom mixture and layer that on top. And this here will heat through and it'll brown up a little bit. Get away from that camera, baby. Anybody want a cat? Just a pain in my ass. Alright, now I'm going to get this back in the air fryer for the last 2 minutes. Alright guys, this is 2 minutes later. You can see how the cheese is nice and melted and the vegetables are heated through. I'm going to get this out on a plate and let it rest for a few minutes and then we'll go ahead and fix up a plate. Went ahead and garnished this with some parsley. Now here's those potatoes. So you can see my meatloaf's done. Give that a try. Nice and moist. Well seasoned. You get that Worcestershire, you get the garlic seasonings and stuff I put in. Let me try a piece with some cheese. Now what I should have done is I should have took some of that pepper mixture and mixed it in with the ground beef. But there's always next time. Look at how cheesy that is, guys. Really delicious. Now try one of these potatoes. They're nice and tender. Well seasoned. That's really delicious, guys, and that's a whole Sunday meal in one contraption. Alright, there you have it. Philly cheesesteak meatloaf in the Ninja Foodi air fryer. Thanks for watching, and remember, love what you eat and eat what you love.